How's it going, guys? This is Waterboy Sports. This is your co-host Ben here. I'm sitting with Zach.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the NBA season preview, which starts tonight with the Celtics and the Cavs playing, and the Rockets and the
Oh
Warriors.
yeah, pretty excited for it.
So today we're going to be going through our season predictions, MVP predictions, and other season award predictions. We're going to be doing a little bit of a Pistons preview, and then finally we got to do some hot takes.
Mine are more lukewarm, but that's just I like to be a little more realistic here.
Mine are always a little bit hotter, just because Ben gets a little frustrated with my takes.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Hopefully, I can keep my composure on this show here. I'm trying to up my threshold a little bit for what I can tolerate from you, Zach.
Yeah, I get it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see where the show takes us.
I'm sure this first show, I'm not expecting anything too blasphemous to come out of your mouth. So
Yeah, I don't have anything too crazy planned for today, but
I think
depending on how much you make me mad, then we'll kind of see.
it usually goes the other way, but we'll take it with a grain of salt. It's the first show of the year. There's not a lot of controversy to be had yet, but I guess let's just get into. Do you want to start with the Western Conference for our playoff?
Yeah, I think we should start with the West. The West is pretty crazy.
Yeah, do you want to just start at one? We'll go down.
Yeah. Well, I think one is pretty easy.
Yep, the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, you're so right. I forgot that De'Aaron Fox was going to be like that dude that just makes Buddy Hield into like Klay Thompson, right?
I mean, it could happen maybe 5 years from now, but definitely not this year. No,
I forgot about that.
I think it's a pretty clear consensus pick that the Warriors are going to be atop of the West.
Yeah, they just don't really have a weakness, really. I mean, you look at their defense; they're the best defense in the league. Their offense, they can spread the floor as best as anybody. It's just I don't know what you can even do to stop them.
I saw a picture the other day on Twitter of their 15-man roster. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
It's absolutely insane. Like you have people like Iguodala, and they made signings of Nick Young and Omar Caspi coming off the bench. I mean, granted, those aren't like stars or anything, but if those are your bench players, Patrick McCaw is no scrub, David West, these are bench players that are solid players on any team in the NBA, and they're all they might have the best bench in the NBA, and they have the best starters.
Yeah,
it's insane.
That could be true. That definitely helps though when you've got guys like Kevin Durant taking pay cuts. But
for sure, I have no idea how they did. And
I don't know.
Thing is, like Nick Young, David West, I'm sure they could command more money elsewhere, but they just want to win, man.
Yeah, I think the Warriors' best signing of the offseason wasn't even Nick Young. I think it was Caspi.
Yeah,
because Caspi is just insane. Like his range, and on the Warriors, that's gonna be unstoppable.
I think he's gonna have a good season. He fits into that system very well. A good 3-and-D guy, kind of to complement Thompson when he's off the court.
Yeah. So after that, this is when it gets a little bit hairier. After number one is when it gets a little bit interesting. For me, I've got the Spurs at number 2.
Okay. I think the top 4 are set. I think we're gonna have the same top 4.
I think you're right.
Just already our order's different. I have the Rockets coming in at number 2.
Yeah, I figured you might. For me, the Spurs, they're just I don't know how you can bet against them. I mean, you got Greg Popovich. They're in the playoffs every year, and they're always a high seed every year. So if I'm going to bet against somebody, it's not going to be the Spurs.
And I debated this a lot, and I agree with that. I'm a little concerned with Kawhi's injury. That quad, I think it's a quad injury.
I think so.
It keeps nagging him. He's going to miss the season opener. They don't have a timetable for when he's going to be back, and the rest of the team's just getting old. I understand they are a very deep team, and you have the Popovich factor, but I mean, I have them coming in number 3, right behind the Rockets. Okay. I really like the Rockets this year, and I think you know that.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Rockets are a really good team. They've got the problem is for me is that they've just got too many ball heavy people. I mean, you got Harden and Chris Paul in the backcourt. I'm just not sure how that's really going to work out. I know that in theory it sounds awesome. Chris Paul distributing to Trevor Ariza, Ryan Anderson, and James Harden, and Eric Gordon off the bench. I mean, how much better could that sound on paper?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
On paper. Okay, I'm just not convinced that all of those people are going to really mesh together.
I think if it's going to mesh anywhere, it's going to be with Mike D'Antoni in that system. I think seeing what he did to James Harden last year, somebody who we thought was a complete ball hog in the league, led the league in assists last year.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
I don't know. I think they have a lot of weapons. They're going to be the highest powered offense in the league. And in the NBA that's today, offense is what's carrying it. Threes are what's carrying a lot of teams, and the Rockets are set up to do that.
Yeah.
So where do you have the Rockets sliding in them? Do you have them at 3?
I've got them at 4.
Wow. Then the Thunder at 3.
The Thunder at 3,
okay.
yes. I'm really high on the Thunder personally because if you want to talk about offense, I think that the Thunder are going to have just an insane offense. I mean, you're looking at the MVP who averaged a triple-double last year, and then you're adding Paul George and Melo. And, I mean, I know that it's heavy isolation ball and everything, but in my opinion, that's a good thing because Melo, when he's playing on a good team, he knows how to share the ball, and he knows that he's going to be a third option.
Yeah, I agree. We might see a little bit of Olympic Melo.
Mm-hmm,
I think that's second place only behind Hoodie Melo as far as the best version of Melo.
Oh,
so
man.
I mean, I agree. I think Thunder are going to be a good team. I think what's going to kill them is they're not very deep. Their bench is not very good, and I just feel that the Warriors, Spurs, and Rockets are all deeper than them. So I have the Spurs coming in at 3, Thunder coming in at 4.
Yeah.
To round out my top 4 for the rankings.
Yeah, for me, I don't think that the Thunder. I think that they're going to be a really good regular season team, but they're going to get burnt in the postseason when their depth gets really pretty much just exposed. I think that's what's going to happen.
I think they could be decent in the postseason. They have a fantastic defensive team, which will be nice.
Very underrated. I mean, you've got Paul George, who's a premier wing defender. Roberson, obviously, and then you got Steven Adams locking down the paint.
Yeah, and then my theory on Westbrook and Anthony is that in the past, they've been seen as subpar defenders, but that's because they have to carry an enormous load on offense. And so defense is a lot of effort. And so while I don't think they're going to be all NBA level defenders, I think they're going to see a massive improvement this year.
Yeah, that could be true for sure.
All right, now 5 through 8.
This is when it gets really, really interesting.
The West is nuts.
Yeah.
I told you I spent a legit 45 minutes trying to decipher my 5 through 8 last night.
It's 5 through 12 in the West.
Yeah,
the discrepancy between those teams is so slim. You got to pick out just the smallest things in order to kind of be able to tell them apart.
Yeah. So who do you have coming in at 5?
At 5, I've got the Timberwolves. I love the Timberwolves. Their offseason was fantastic. That Jimmy Butler trade was just an absolute no-brainer. You get rid of Chris Dunn, who just showed pretty much nothing. And Jimmy Butler, he's going to be able to teach Wiggins how to actually play some defense. I hope
so. You would hope so.
And you would think that Thibodeau would actually be able to teach him some defense, but that hasn't happened yet. But I've got faith that their team, they've got Jeff Teague, Jimmy Butler, Wiggins, Taj Gibson, and then Cat. I mean, you tell me a team that looks better on paper than that. But
the Warriors.
The Warriors, but there's not a team with much more upside than them. I'll say that.
Okay, I'm gonna come in here. I got the Timberwolves at 6.
Okay.
I have the Nuggets ahead of them at 5. And
I've got the Nuggets at 6. So
okay, here's my reasoning that I put them ahead. The Timberwolves are not going to be a good 3-point shooting team.
No.
When your best 3-point shooter is Karl Anthony Towns, he's not going to be a high volume 3. The lane's going to be congested a lot in their games. I'm a little worried about that, and I'm a little worried about how many new faces are coming together on that team. I think it's going to take a little bit to get the chemistry up there. And I mean, Grant, the Wolves won 30 some games last year.
So I just don't know why they can't seem to put it together.
Exactly. It's going to be a big leap for them to get to 5. Nuggets, they have a majority of their same team last year, and the only real piece they added is Paul Millsap, which I think is a fantastic addition for them.
Yep, he made a lot of sense.
He's going to add a lot of defense to that incredibly offensive starting lineup.
Yeah.
So I like the Nuggets coming in at 5. I do like the Wolves. I think it might take a little bit for them to gel.
Yeah.
And find their footing. And if they can add a 3-point shooter, I'd be a lot more confident in them.
Yeah.
But still a great team coming in at 6.
What are you talking about? They got Jamal Crawford on the bench.
Oh, that's right. How could I forget?
Yeah, you got a washed-up dude sitting on the bench.
Again, he's not a spot-up shooter. He's gonna break some ankles up in
Minnesota. But he's definitely gonna break a few ankles, but he's gonna be very inefficient, which is another thing with the Timberwolves. They've got just a lot of pretty inefficient people. Considering they're younger, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But they need to get a lot more efficient before they improve.
Don't get me wrong. if we're having this conversation in 3 or 4 years, they might be number 1 or number 2 in the West. I could very well see
Oh
that.
yeah, I mean, I could see that with the Nuggets too. With the Nuggets, you've got an insanely young team. I mean, you have Jokic, who's just ridiculous. Um, Jamal Murray off the bench, and then one of the best young two guards in the league, in Gary Harris. So
Oh
I think
yeah,
that they've got a lot of.
you really love
You
Gary
know, I love
Harris.
Gary Harris.
All right, 7 and 8. Who do you got at 7?
I got the Clippers. I'm not really sold on the Clippers.
I know you're not, but
I mean, losing. I know that they got a lot of depth from the Chris Paul trade, but losing Chris Paul, I just don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on like DeAndre Jordan. What is he going to do without Chris Paul? I mean, come
he has the European version of Chris Paul
on.
and
I forgot
Milo
about it. Yeah.
Teodosic. Dude, he's from what I've seen in preseason, he's been dropping dimes like none other.
Yeah, like throwing reckless behind the back passes for no reason. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah. Anyway, I also have the Clippers at 7. I'm more high on them than you are. I think they could reach the 5th seed.
Oh
really.
man.
I think
I guess that could be because the Wolves, they might just not mesh together. The Nuggets, there could be injuries or.
Yeah, and I think I actually did have the Clippers as a 5th seed. I was a little confused on how the scheduling worked because the Pacific Division is really weak. You have the Suns, Kings, and Lakers in there.
Yeah.
So I originally thought that the Clippers would be playing more games against those weak teams, but I looked at their schedules and it really didn't work out that way.
Okay.
So I bumped them down to 7 because similar to the Wolves, a lot of new players have to mesh together. I do think they're a very deep team, one of the deepest teams in the West. Yeah, they'll fall right into that 6 or 7. I don't see them missing the playoffs at all.
I don't either.
Number 8.
I have the Trailblazers.
I also have the Trailblazers.
Okay.
Wow, we agreed a lot more than I thought on this list.
I didn't know how much we would agree. This is the first time we're sharing this list, so I was expecting Ben to get a little bit more upset with me, but you know what? This is fine.
We have a
we've got the East, so who knows what's going to happen, and the rest of the show, but we'll see what happens here. So the Trailblazers, I really love Damian Lillard. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I think he's extremely underrated, considering he averaged 27 points last year, and he didn't even make the All-Star team.
Dude, he might not make it this year.
I know he might not, because the West just got even deeper. But I mean, if he was in the East, I think he would be contending for, All NBA, MVP maybe, if he played for a better team than the Blazers.
I mean, you have a good point there. I agree. Dalla Dame is a monster. You have CJ back there too, and when they got Nurkic last year, they became one of the most efficient offenses in the league.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see that continue this year.
Yeah, Nurkic is definitely an underrated big for sure.
But I mean, there definitely is a fall off in talent level, I think, with the Blazers and the rest of the West. I think up for grabs in that 8 seed, you can also have the Jazz in that conversation.
Yeah.
They lost. Obviously, they lost Hayward and they lost George Hill. I don't know if Rubio is really an upgrade over George Hill, but I'm just worried about scoring on the team. They're going to be a great defensive team, but who's going to score the rock?
Exactly. Maybe, if you're asking for Rodney Hood, Derek Favors, and Joe Ingles to be your scorers, I don't know how that's going to work in the modern NBA.
Yeah, I could also potentially see the Pelicans grabbing that last spot.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that front court is just insane, but they have no wings. Like their starting small forward is like Dante Cunningham.
I know, it's terrible. Or Solomon Hill or something like that.
Yeah,
just garbage.
All right. Do you see any other teams potentially grabbing that 8 seed? Those were the two that I think could potentially.
Yeah,